The Aquaman movie is finally on its way to being a real thing. The solo adventure for the DC Comics character rolled out its first full trailer, and the result has people feeling more excited than they thought they could ever be over a superhero who can talk to fish. The movie's long-awaited first trailer provides the clearest look yet at what we can expect from the murky depths. Here are all the details you may have missed from the first Aquaman movie trailer. The Trench. One of the trailer's most exciting shots involves Jason Momoa's Aquaman and Amber Heard's Mera diving into the ocean to escape a swarm of monsters. This evil group chasing after the Atlantean heroes are members of a society known as the Trench, who were first introduced in a 2011 Aquaman comics run by writer Geoff Johns, who has a story credit on the film. Formerly Atlanteans themselves, the Trench are a splinter sect that was formed when the legendary city sank into the sea, with their group falling deep into the Marianas Trench. While the rest of the surviving Atlantis population adapted to underwater sea life and maintained their humanoid looks, the Trench became monstrous and cannibalistic, adopting savage methods of hunting and marauding in order to survive. Led by their own king and queen, the Trench serves as a dark mirror image to the other prosperous Atlanteans, sea monsters who are some of the more formidable dangers of the deep. Vulko. One shot of the trailer lingers on a teenaged Aquaman, or an aqua teen if you will, training in the art of catching a spear in between his hands. A movie puts to good use as an adult. That training sequence also offers a short glimpse of Willem Dafoe's character Vulko in action. According to Dafoe, Vulko is essentially Arthur's mentor figure, being 100% Atlantean while Arthur is half-human and was raised on the surface. They're characters with a lot of comics history together, with Vulko serving as Arthur's regent after he takes the Atlantean throne. Swim good. A big moment in the Aquaman trailer is his explosive arrival on a submarine.
Permission to come aboard.
But what you might have missed is Aquaman's approach to the submarine. It only lasts about a second and shows Aquaman super swimming his way toward the sub, a skill we haven't really gotten to see him show off in his earlier movie appearances. Regardless, it's a power he's long had in the comics, being able to swim at the rate of 6,800 miles per hour. Home invasion. The other big highlight of the trailer is Black Manta, or if you're not a long-time comics fan, the guy in the evil scuba suit. Beyond having one of the coolest looks in the entire history of comic book movies, it looks like the Aquaman rival will play a part in some deeply personal drama. In the Geoff Johns comics from which Aquaman partially takes inspiration, Black Manta gets hired by a doctor named Stephen Shin to acquire a blood sample from Aquaman as a boy, in a bid to prove that he's something more than human. The pursuit ultimately results in the hero's father's death. In the trailer, Black Manta is seen in full combat mode in a domestic location. As the only surface-side household we see in the trailer, it's tempting to think that this set piece takes place inside of the lighthouse home of Aquaman's childhood, which would spell pretty terrible things for the one non-superpowered member of his family should Black Manta get his hands on him. Unite the Seven. In addition to giving audiences an idea of what they're in for on their journey under the sea with Aquaman and friends, the Aquaman trailer finally gave moviegoers an answer to a question that's been lingering out there for years. Specifically, after all this time, we finally know the meaning of the phrase "Unite the Seven." The very first image of Jason Momoa's Aquaman came in February 2015, more than 3 years before his solo movie's release date. That image was superimposed with the phrase "Unite the Seven." At the time, and for years later, no one was really certain what this phrase was meant to convey. As it turns out, the tagline refers to what appears to be the general plot of Aquaman, with Arthur's half-brother Orm working to unite the seven kingdoms of the ocean into one unified force to take on the surface world in all-out war.
And I'm bringing the wrath of the seven seas with me.
Just talk. Another aspect of undersea living that a lot of people don't think about is communication. Justice League had Mera use her control over water to create an air bubble for the purposes of conversation. Luckily, that weird, potentially drama-crippling solution isn't being brought over to Aquaman's solo outing. Director James Wan confirmed as much on Twitter, writing, "Fret not, no air bubbles for dialogue in my underwater world." So how do they talk underwater in Aquaman? The answer, as the trailer confirms, is that they just can. Sometimes it's best not to overthink things.
That was the worst pep talk ever.
Nereus. The trailer for Aquaman sets up a lot about the movie, even though it doesn't linger too long on everything it introduces. One of those quick glimpses appears to introduce Dolph Lundgren's character, Nereus. We don't know much about what Nereus will get up to in this movie, but we do know that he's been substantially altered from his comic book counterpart in at least one way. In the comics, he and Mera were in a relationship. In the movie, they're evidently father and daughter. Yellow eyes. As played by Jason Momoa, the Aquaman of the movies has typically been shown as having some mystically pale eyes, but one pivotal moment in the Aquaman trailer appears to be a whole new invention for the character, the yellow shade that young Arthur's eyes turn as he communicates with the sea life in the aquarium. It'd be understandable to think that those yellow eyes come straight from the comic books, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Most likely, it's a movie invention meant solely for the audience to understand when Arthur's revving up to throw a pile of sharks at his enemies.